I recently embarked on a mission of taking photos for 30 days. This is part 2 where I pick up where we last left off on day 15. If you missed part 1, there's a link in the description or in the info card in the top right corner which will take you to it. Day 16. Been highly distracted as of late, but went out and got several shots, 170 or so. This is a lot when compared to what I would usually get in a day. Tried to pick interesting subjects, something that is intriguing but at the same time relatively common and appears in plain sight. I took some architectural signage and miscellaneous shots till I chanced upon a park which had some very interesting subjects to shoot. This included flowers, tombstones, and ruins of an old church. I'd forgotten what the different f-stops are for, which ones give good depth of field, etc., but still managed to do it in a small field of daisies. I had watched a handful of videos on photography before heading out, but nothing seemed to stick. The rest of the shots were taken as I meandered back home, which concluded with the chair holding up some planks of wood. I've also been meaning to shoot some B-roll videos which I could use in this or future videos, but almost completely forgotten to do it. Might have to do it on a day specifically just for that. Day 17. Started off with opening the curtain in an unusual way today, which lighted up my guitar and gave me a good subject to work with. Got a handful of good shots and started on a very intriguing angle, only to realize that I didn't have my memory card in again. Fortunately, being still home meant that I didn't have a repeat of day 3. Not nearly as many photos as the previous day, about half, but still a substantial amount to what I'd been used to taking, especially on the stay-at-home day. Day 18. I haven't been feeling up to much lately and haven't been feeling particularly interested in taking photographs. I decided I needed to clear my head and get out, so took my camera with me. I didn't really get much interesting shots, and it seems that my photo taking has been stuck at the same level as it was previously after the initial jump. I'll need to create a plan or goal from now on. For the moment, here's the shots that I took today. Day 19. Wasn't particularly in the mood to go out and take photos, but I had to run to the library, so took the camera along just in case. It only dawned on me that today was Pride Day, as I'd walked half the way only to run into the parade line. There were some great floats and photo opportunities, but the path was jam full of people and you could only manage to squeeze through in one direction only. It was too crowded and I was too laden with the camera and the shoulder bag. I wasn't prepared and missed a handful of great shots, and the long trek didn't help matters at all. Today was just a matter of trying to capture something, and the learning slump continues. Day 20. Not much today as I went out to meet a friend and got some remnants of the Pride celebration and a couple of indoor shots, of which only one was worthy. Day 21. It's gotten to a point where subject matter is getting sparse and interest is waning. Maybe what's needed is a pre-planned focus or a theme before heading out. Day 22. With inspiration and locations I can access within walking distance almost completely tapped out, I decided to do another stay-at-home macro shoot. Bar the actual close range focus issues and aperture settings, backdrop and framing are crucial for macro shots. But even without the right setting, macro opens up a world of interesting shooting which also gives you a vastly different perspective of things you'd otherwise gloss over. Day 23. A stay-at-home day where I managed to venture out onto new paths. Trying to find interesting subject matter along the way I could try and weave a narrative out of, whether that be by itself or as a series. What emerges I guess I'll leave to the eye of the viewers and their imaginations. As the shooting progresses, the issue of what to keep and what not crops up more and more as the final images are just selected from the shoot. Without any editing or cropping involved, this makes the task harder. Day 24. Met up with a few more friends and got some great subjects to shoot in the retro arcade bar we went to. Managed to get some sharp indoor shots even though they were handheld and with low light levels. Still not comfortable shooting people, later ventured out to the pier and captured some shots there. The knowledge and skills learned so far seem to remain at an even level without any further progress. Day 25. Another indoor session. This time somewhat macro style photography with lighting that allowed for high contrast shooting, allowed for some interesting shots of some items lying around my dining room table. Day 26. Nearing the end of this 30-day session, it's getting harder to find the motivation and inspiration to do this. Even so, I'm trying to take photos on days which I can hopefully use for the project. With that, here's some macro shots of the hardware I use for my IoT class. Day 27. These were just some shots I took while out with family and hadn't originally considered using for the project. However, some of the subjects were interesting enough, and I have been using almost all of what I've learned so far to take these that I changed my mind. Day 28. At this point the project has been on hold for a few months and I've had a change of scenery, but still somewhat landlocked for locations. I managed to venture out a bit and found some incongruous artifacts on the landscape, which made for some interesting shooting. The intense glare of the sun coupled with the heat and bugs didn't help in matters, but I was still able to persist and get several shots and angles, as I've learned from the previous days that only by taking more than needed will you have enough of a pool to select the best. Day 29. I've been trying to do some high contrast photography and played around with different aperture shutter combos as well as changing up the ISO. Focusing turned out to be an issue, so I switched that to manual, but the controls on the camera aren't ideal and seem to jump back to automatic, so I had to resort to taking photos on autofocus and couldn't quite get what I was hoping for. Day 30. So here it is, the final day of the project. Took wide-ranging shots of things I found around the porch, yard, upstairs, workshop, etc. Not quite the type of photos I figured I would end up with to wrap things up. To be honest, I wasn't sure what exactly I would end up with. It feels an accomplishment in itself of having done this and documented this apart from whatever direct outcomes may have arisen. It has been long and oft times hard and tedious to downright despondent on certain days, but this forms the linchpin of future endeavors I hope to undertake. The end result of this hasn't been immensely superior photo taking to what I'd started with, but now I find myself in better control of what I'm taking. The automatic setting has become something I would hardly think about, let alone use whenever I have the camera at the moment. I've also resorted to taking several shots of whatever I'm taking, but do find myself slipping back into my previous state where I would be hesitant and take retracted photos. But overall the outcome is good. I think I'll park photography for the moment and only take it either for leisure, deliberate purpose with a specific topic, or subject in mind, and when in a serene state of mind. So with that, here's some of the stats of this undertaking. Thank you so much for coming along with me for this journey. If you like this, please hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Bye for now.